Hello friends! In this video, I'm exploring the beautiful Vancouver Island where I photograph stunning waterfalls, and I embark on some grueling hikes in search of epic vistas and viewpoints, and make sure that you stay to the end as I get some amazing conditions while photographing Vancouver Island's beautiful and sprawling Alpine peaks. Vancouver Island has been on my short list of locations to explore for quite some time now, and for good reason. It's home to charming port towns, lush rainforests, winding rivers, lakes, and majestic alpine peaks. It's an abundant and diverse ecosystem that calls for exploration, and so Explore is exactly what we did. On this trip, I was joined by my good buddy Derek as we embarked on a quick ferry ride from the mainland and across the Strait of Georgia. And as we arrived on the island, we scrambled to set up our camp, and then, like the good photo hound that I am, I immediately took off to explore and photograph some stunning waterfall scenes. The waterfalls in this location were absolutely beautiful, and this shot of the lower falls turned out okay, but I could see from the drone that there was a better vantage point of the upper falls, so I grabbed my gear and I took off down the trail in search of a better shot. So this upper falls is really beautiful. You can probably see it behind me right there. And yeah, I was playing around with a few different compositions and fired off a few shots, and I think I found some compositions that I like, but the lighting's not quite ideal. You know, you can see all the dappled light from the sun coming up over the ridge behind me, and so it's a little bit too busy right now. But I'm gonna come back in the evening time when the light, you know, is a bit more ideal, a bit more even, and I'll recompose then and hopefully come away with some better shots. Alright, so I'm back at the falls, and it is actually morning time. I did come last night, but I was a little late, and the lighting, I think, was just too flat, didn't really work. So I figured I'd come back early for sunrise. And it's actually perfect as, you know, this waterfall faces east, the sun's coming up directly behind us. And as all the red and orange, you know, is going off in the sunrise, the falls itself is catching this orange-red bounce light, and so it makes the lighting, much more dynamic. So I'm going to show you what I have on the back of the camera and kind of walk you through. So you'll see here the scene. For video, I'm shooting in landscape to walk you guys through, but for photography, I'm actually shooting a vertical crop, and so kind of have this cropped out, this cropped out. The eye, is more focused right on the subject, and you get a little bit more vertically at the top of the frame as well too. I think it works a bit better for this falls. But anyways, you'll see the cliffs are kind of catching some good orange-red bounce light. And as far as settings, I'm at about ISO 100. I'm shooting at about f11, f14. Everything's in sharp focus. And then I have a circle polarizer on, which is cutting out some of the glare, from the water in this bowl here. And it's also allowing me to drag the shutter a little bit. So I'm shooting at about just under a second as far as my shutter speed. And that seems to work perfectly to get, kind of the water pattern that I want for this falls. And so, yeah, I think, it's a halfway decent shot. The sun's still coming up. I'm going to keep, playing around, and the lighting might even get a bit more dynamic. So, yeah, I'll keep composing, recomposing, seeing what shots I like best, and we'll see what we come away with. After what was a beautiful day of exploring different waterfalls on the island, we headed back to camp to rest up and get a good night's sleep in preparation for our ascent into the mountains. We knew the hike ahead of us would be as grueling as it was beautiful, especially with 50 pounds of photography gear on our backs. So we made sure we were properly stocked with food and supplies, and then with our torture packs firmly fitted to our backs, we took off on the trail, hopeful for stunning conditions, and admittedly naive of the climb that we had ahead of us.
climb was brutal, but the views at the top were absolutely spectacular and worth the effort. So after taking it all in, we got our tent set up, and then with my spirits recharged, I grabbed my camera and I set off for the nearest overlook to scout out some compositions. The sunset was blocked out by the marine layer, but I did come away with some compositions I was excited about. So I got some rest, and then I woke up early the next morning to head back to this peak and enjoy the sunrise. So you'll see I have this nice leading line with the ridge line that's just going right back into the main peaks here, which are so prominent and beautiful. And so it's a really pretty shot. One thing I don't like is that this lake here, even though it's beautiful, it's really close to the frame, so it's almost a little bit distracting. So, I could either pull out more and pull the camera up, kind of eliminate these trees here that are also a bit distracting, and maybe even shoot this kind of as like a pano shot. Since it's very horizontal, it probably would work pretty well. So anyways, I really like this shot. I'm gonna fine tune this composition a little bit and hopefully come away with something that I like.
Morning, everyone. So I got some decent shots. We had a halfway decent sunrise, and there's a lot of haze over these mountain ridges. It makes for some unique layering, which is kind of what I was going for anyways, but it's almost a bit too hazy. I think that there is a small wildfire somewhere on the island. I think we saw that before we headed up here. And so it could be that, but I think also part of it is kind of the marine layer as well. So anyways, I think most of the shots worked, but I am dog tired. I did not sleep very well last night. So I'm gonna hike down, grab some breakfast, crash for, good, probably a couple hours, and then wake up and scout around more for, where I wanna shoot for the evening light. All right, so I got my second wind and I'm climbing up this peak right now, getting ready for sunrise. And I got a great view in front of me. Let me kind of show you some perspective of where I've been set up these last few days. So this is the adjacent peak that I was at last night and this morning, and good views from there, although I think we might be able to get slightly better up here tonight. We're camped out somewhere roughly around here on this ridge and just hiked up this evening. So yeah, it is so beautiful. Vancouver Island is just such a beautiful place, and just these ridge lines that just sprawl as far as the eye can see is just absolutely breathtaking. So I'm going to continue the hike up and start getting set up for tonight and firing off some shots.
thoroughly enjoyed my time on the island, and it's spending time in places like these where I find rejuvenation and perspective when I'm going through challenging times. Being in our wild lands often reminds me that the healing, peace, and wisdom of nature is alive inside each of us if we just have the courage to look within.
enjoyed this adventure, please consider subscribing or leaving a like or a comment. And if you'd like to learn more from me, you can find workshop info on my website, linked in the video description. And thank you for watching, everyone. I really appreciate you. And until next time, I hope that you'll join me in photographing and sharing the beauty of our world.